This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello, and a big warm welcome. Yes, it's the Christmas special. It's the Bar Stewards Boxing Day preview. And joining me to chew the fat and go through the best bets on this show are my usual partner in crime, Jonas Lang. And joining me and John will be Andy Richmond and Quentin Franks. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. All good this. I'm hoping for a corking show. I can certainly kick us off here, right? That I have got what I believe is the second coming in terms of national ump bets. Honestly, I have not been blown away by a horse as much as this in a long time. So we'll get to that later.
3-point win Constitution.
Saying that, Sam Crow's back.
Yeah, we'll have an 8,000 to win one Constitution.
What, for a really boring selection?
I might just. Yeah, so stay tuned. Right, folks, this is the best bets round. This is where we go 1, 2, and 3 points. Andy, go on. Get it off your chest, your 1 point.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll start with... They're all pretty... Actually, the three are all pretty boring selections, but I'll be disappointed if they don't all hit the frame or hopefully win. And just for John, I'm going to have a bit of Venetia first, which has been corking form lately.
Yeah.
And should be pulling on the thigh length boots for this one. I'm going to mangle the name. And I've listened to about 4 commentaries on this, and they've all said it differently. So it's Buxy des Espère, I think is how we say this. I thought the horse ran particularly well. I thought it was quite good there, actually. But it runs at Aintree. I think it's the 140.
Yeah, it is 140.
Right? Tuesday. For those who've forgotten what day it is, because I'm completely confused. But it will be Tuesday, Boxing Day.
Say it again.
Like most of the Venetia Williams runners, he's been in really good form. And he made his comeback, 394 days after having his first run for the team. And he was only a 4-year-old. He beat a Skelton odds-on favourite at Lingfield. But last time out, I thought he ran a really good race behind Spirit de Nou at Sandown in a very good handicap hurdle, a 0 to 150. It was up there all the way. And I just marked the run up because in the light of the conditions and the way the race was run, he stuck on really well once he was headed. He was up there all the way, one of the very few that finished in the frame. He pulled clear with the winner, who I think is still a very well handicapped horse. He's going back. I think he's still got plenty in hand on his handicap. I thought they might switch him to fences quickly. But I think this looks a handicap there for the taking, to be honest with you. It doesn't look to be an awful lot in it. The bottom one, Tim Vaughan's horse, there's a possible danger to it, Classic Lord. But I couldn't really see a lot else in the race. Most of even Ted Hastings, he'll be sucking diesel at some point in the race. He's beaten Charlotte Jack last time out. So whichever way you say it, point win, Buxy des Espère at whatever best price we can find.
Yep, 140 race that entry, Buxy des Espère, 2 to 1.
Sister, that Andy. Actually, having studied the arrangement of letters that's passing for words.
Yeah,
it does look like a bad Scrabble rack, doesn't it, John?
It does that.
2 to 1. Bet365 Sky Bet, Betfred, Buxy des Espères for us young folk.
Could that get any more Yorkshire?
Buxy des Espères. That's what we like.
The other two I've got are much easier to say. There you go.
Good stuff. Right, that starts the round off with a...
If there's any more like that, just give us race card numbers.
QF, I'm coming to you because I'm intrigued as to what you've got today.
I'm going to kick it off, Lee. 1 point win in the 12:45 at Kempton. Going for a jumps bet. Be a bit festive and all that malarkey. Yeah. Horse in question, number 6, S Perfecto. Alan King trained off, Gavin Sheehan up. Felt this went with an absolute bundle of promise on reappearance at Cheltenham. Tanked through the race, jumped beautifully in its first chase start. Clocked a good figure. The winner's gone in again since. He just got tied up the run in late doors. Shaped like the run was needed, but went through the race like a well-handicapped horse. Handicap has dropped him £1 for a run that was full of promise, and I kind of feel we should be nearer the top of the market than he is. There's a bit of 6-1, 11-2 kicking around. Kind of feel he's more force poke. Just went like a horse that is in good form, and drying ground should also help his cause. 1 point win, 6-1.
Yeah, 6-1. That's the Bet Victor Coral, Ladbrokes, Spoil Sports, etc. So just an interesting point regarding the Kempton ground. I expect he could ride like genuine good ground Tuesday, because the stick there is he's sort of reading like that. It's obviously dried out pretty well there. So maybe not look for soup monsters maybe at Kempton on Boxing Day. So thank you, Quentin, for that. Jonas, where are you at?
I'm at Market Raspberry first. 115. Happy Tim. This one potentially, I think, is well handicapped. As with most of Tim's, maybe the first run has been ridden by the nephew quite a bit as well, which doesn't augur well. I'd hesitate to class Charlie Hammond as a proper jockey, but it does raise hopes that this might be day. I think this is a piss power race. If he can't win this, Tim might as well get the Hoover out, really.
Benny Ballou.
Yeah.
Is where we're at, 115 race, right?
I should have named it. I couldn't risk my pronunciation.
Ballou. Yeah. Benny Ballou. 11-4 with Hills, 3-1 with Denise. So you get 11-4, John. Are you happy with that?
No, that'll do fine.
Yeah, all right. 1 point win for John there, Benny Ballou, market raisin. Yeah, I'm off to Wetherby. No, I'm not. I'm off to Aintree. The Tolworth Hurdle, which is now renamed as some George Formby. Well, I don't know what they've named it. Oh, the William Hill Formby, George Formby.
George Formby?
Well, it's the Formby novice. It's the Formby novices hurdle. I mean, what's all that?
Doesn't he make grills? Oh no,
Yeah.
George Foreman.
Yeah, lean, mean, Greg, grilling machine. You know?
Now I know what to get you for Christmas, Lee.
Yeah. I ain't got one of them, actually. I've got an air fryer. They're good. But like a George Foreman. Yeah, absolutely. So the Tolworth, obviously, Nicky Henderson, Popeye, was absolutely going berserk that they'd switched the Tolworth from Sandown to Aintree, probably because he didn't want to travel north of or further west than Haydock, really, to send a runner. But yeah, I would say they...
You see what he said in the post today? We won't be looking forwards until it's over on Boxing Day. I'll be horrible on Christmas Day, so keep out of my way. What a prick.
Does that mean, though, he's sort of like sat in his abode, in his boudoir, and he's got Ned and Jerry in there, like for day, with a bit of sniff and a bit of gin all day? You know what I mean?
He must have been on the gin after yesterday, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've got a fucking 8-ton pork on Boxing Day, and I'll be horrible on Christmas Day because of it. What a twat.
I can't have him, really. I'm not saying he's not a super trainer over time, but look, Catherine Fry got him off to a tee on Friday. Sure,
that was very funny.
Yeah, she's good at this.
And a good winner from Fry as well.
She did. She saved the Friday show, bless her. We're tipping shit. She did the biz in the big hurdle race at Ascot with Lucia, and rightfully pointed out it was well handicapped 136. Trumpets are out.
And she's now successfully branded as the pastured sex elf.
Absolutely, yeah. By John, that's kind of, yeah. Wow.
It's a bit much, though, isn't it? Saying that, I'm going to be horrible because I've got a 8-ton pork. I mean, God, I could have been horrible last Christmas. I mean, I was gutted when I got a sweater. I was hoping for a screamer or a moaner.
He's here all day. Right, the George Formby race, the Tolworth. July Flower. The French have sent over 2 on Boxing Day, one at Kempton and one here. And again, this is a horse that I felt she was a little bit ignored in the market at 8-1. Time Form have a clear on the numbers, and checking France Gallop, unless they've put a false number in, it would give her a big chance in this. So anyway, with the sex allowance, the 7, Felix de Piles in the saddle. 8-1 generally available is certainly quite attractive, and that's where my 1 point win's going to be. I think she's underestimated. Again, British punters, seem to have got a good handle on the Irish scene, but not so good on the French scene. I do think, because France don't send over many runners these days, which is a shame, I do think they sort of fail on that aspect. So I think 8-1 is too big, and that's where my 1 point win goes. Right, round 2. Swinging it round to you, Jonas.
Oh dear. 12-13, Down Royal.
Oh.
Yeah, no. As you can see, I've trolled these cards looking for the best value everywhere, dear listener, remaining listener. I mean, this one's pretty much because I want to be against Dracula's horse, who looks all over a 2.5 miler to me. Yeah, they're dropping him in trip for his third start in a bad race, so it's a toss of the coin, isn't it? Whether he's off or going for a mark or just going to ruin my bet. I don't know.
He likes doing that.
Yeah, he does. On form in the book, I'd say this is a match between the BFG horse and Blue Denver, and it's the latter one my magic pin's falling on.
So Blue Denver, yeah?
Yeah, he looks slightly the more straightforward of the two, I would have said. Ought to get a positive ride against this. There's a lot of rammel in this. And there's little reason to think he won't be off, because they won't find many better chances for him, you know. I mean, he is what he is, and he's not harbouring any state secrets. I would say if this one's lining up somewhere near the front where he can go handy, and if there's around 4-1 or bigger available on the machine at the off, it'd be one of the filthiest each-way bets a punter could have. I'd probably be hovering myself.
Like a shop barrer kind of bet.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so Ben Bromley obviously going over there to ride as well for the money. It's a Bleu d'Enfer, right? I just want to come to the jockey on the Gordon Elliott race, Baptiste Leclerc. John,
Nice. You liking that?
It sounds like a character out of Phoenix Nights.
Baptiste. I was thinking that's Andy. That's a good analogy. Yeah, Clinton
Well,
Baptiste
Jerry
Leclerc.
Sinclair in that, wasn't there?
So we've got 4 experts here. Obviously, me, Quentin, Andy, John. Have we ever heard of Baptiste Leclerc?
No.
Yes.
Oh.
God, John.
He's actually the product of the love scene in Deliverance.
Yeah, I knew you'd have some up your sleeve. Yeah, so Baptiste Leclerc, let's watch him on Purse Price. As
We'll
John,
have to ask Price, she might know.
yeah, Baptiste Leclerc, what a name that is. I want him to be like one of the greatest jockeys of all time. Baptiste
Well,
Leclerc.
if he's not, his name has been wasted, hasn't it, really? don't you think?
It is tremendous. Yeah,
It's like putting 26-inch alloys on a wheelie bin.
it's the best.
I could take I could ruin our Apple clean rating here and say it sounds like a 70s porn star. More than
but
If you think that'll ruin our Apple clean rating, Andy, we should
yeah.
Baptiste Leclerc's the best jockey name I've seen since Eddie Edge. Eddie Edge is like, that's like one of them like video game Grand Prix races. Eddie Edge, you know, like that's a Formula One driver, isn't it? Eddie Edge, I love that.
He'd be in that video going Group 1 jockey, wouldn't he?
What a game that is.
I feel like he should be a spy.
Yeah, Baptiste Leclerc, that is something else. Right, we move on quickly. I'll come on to me and then come on to the more serious selections from Quentin and Andy. 135 Wetherby's where I'm going for a 2-pointer, and it's Fontaine Collonges of Venetia, counting the Venetia theme with Andy. I think this is overpriced. It's not really a bet that I'm confident on because you've got to look at the front 2 in the market, Empire Steel, Into Overdrive. They look to have good claims also. Into Overdrive, I'm sure will be popular with national punters. You know, he's the type that might go again this season. But Fontaine Collonges did start 5-2 at Sandown before coming to a mishap at the first she did. I think that 6-1, that won't be there come purse time. and she represents the most value, given it's the wind-up system of Venetia. You can't really class second-time wind-up because it only got as far as the first. So it's like the old stat, Venetia tightens the wind and, gets the best out of them. What a trainer she is. At 6-1, William Hill and 888 is where I'm going for my 2 points.
Well, you don't worry about with Empire Stale. He never wins south of Carlisle.
That's it. It's true. Big Sandy's one to follow like Oop North and gets nosebleeds when he goes, like you say, south of Carlisle. I agree.
Don't travel that at all.
But I reckon Into Overdrive would be popular. That was progressive last season, and can see that in a good race. But I thought at 6s we'll have the 6s. Andy, coming to you.
Man, it's to show that we don't just throw the show together. So it sometimes sounds like it.
Yeah.
There is a synergy and a symmetry between my 2 selections for the 2-point and the 3-point. And the synergy and symmetry comes out of the Exeter race on the 10th of November, which has produced numerous next time out winners, apart from this one, which is the 2-point selection in the 12:15 at Sedgey.
Ooh.
And it is Imperial Measure.
Mm.
Now, he ran pretty well in that Exeter race, and then last time out, he got an Adam Wedge special, shall we say, because he was held up rather a long way off the pace, shall we say.
Is that getting a wedgie?
He was, yeah. And the run of the race.
Was that Taunton, Andy? We're at Taunton, weren't it, off the top of my head?
Yeah. When he was second of 11 behind a horse called Guylan, who has won again since.
Pissed up, yeah.
The third, Atreides, has also run pretty well again since and should win soon. Sailed Away has been a little bit disappointed. He was back in 4th. But all in all, for a 0 to 100, it weren't a bad race. But he had to trace down Guylan, who got a very positive ride. I thought the 13 lengths at the time flattered him, but he has come out and won again since. Imperial Measure was at best, joint third at best, jumping the second last, and the winner by that stage had gone. He was
terribly placed,
back at base virtually. To his credit, Imperial Measure did beat the second Atreides comfortably, and that one has come out and run pretty well again since from the Mulholland team. And that one had first run in him as well. The way the run of the race contributed in a big way to the result. If you can hopefully ride Imperial Measure with a little bit more positivity this time around, he ought to be able to win a race like this. There's not an awful lot of opposition. Joie Vive runs the track well, but she's hardly progressive. And you would think that Imperial Measure, given the form that he's racked up in the last 2 runs in handicaps, having won one at Newton Abbot off a mark of 83 in September, he ought to be able to win. Ideally, I'd want a fast run race and probably a more galloping track, but you can't have everything in life. 2 points win, Imperial Measure.
Love the case made there. 5-2 generally available for Andy's 6 selection. Very solid indeed. Quentin, finish the round.
Wolverhampton for me, Lee, 16:35, and I want to oppose Lightspeed, who was given the red carpet treatment last time out.
Yes.
Lingfield punted off the boards that day. It's almost like they knew it would go forward and get an absolute softie. Not really sure he's worth the £7 rise in the weights. There's a chance he'll get a soft one here, but I'm hoping Civil Law will kind of sit on his tail, kind of how he was ridden last time out. He'd been teed up for the last race at Wolverhampton, let's say that. Just given 3 soft runs since reappearance. Caught further back than ideal in steadily run races on each occasion. Returned to Wolverhampton. He's clocked 22.7 the last 2 furlongs. So absolutely at the top of his game. Paddy Bradley takes off 3. He's got an inside draw, so I'd like to think they'll just pop him out and sit on the heels. In fantastic nick at the moment. A £5 rise looks on the light side, and he's still well handicapped. He's won here off of 87. In fact, he won this last year off 87, I think it was. Going the right way. I think he should probably be more 9 to 4, 2 to 1. I think there's 3-1 kicking around. He appeals as the bet against the favourite there, who's got the jockey downgrade.
Yeah, exactly. From O'Sheen to Carver, and like you said, Quentin, that was an astonishing race. I mean, punted it into odds on. I think that was a jockey's eat. I really do.
Mhm.
I think they knew the Agasos would be dropped out under the inexperienced lad that was on it, and the rest of them all just went after you, sir. And yeah, it was an absolute carve up. That was one of the biggest carve ups I've seen this winter. So civil law for Quentin, 3-1. That's we bet 365 William Hill. Yeah, absolutely. Good selection. 2 points on the nose. Right, that finishes the 2-point round. Now the 3-point round. This is where we get excited because we'll do what we did on Saturday and do shit barring Fry. But having said that, John, Saturday's bet, Goobinator. What did you make of it? Bit of a
I thought it was going to piss up coming out the back.
Yeah, I did.
Did you not think he needed to jump better?
Yeah, just a flat effort at the finish, wasn't it? Probably a fanny.
Goobinator's a fanny. I genuinely I reckon the wind's rotten, right? And I reckon it can win on the flat, like over 1.5 miles because it can last out. But I reckon when you get over jumps, you need that extra. I just don't think it's got it. But there's a bit of a fanny aspect to it as well, John.
Has anybody said out about wind or anything?
Nah, it's just
Keller adding it.
Yeah, it looked $1 million, like sort of turning in. You're thinking, well, if he presses go here, it's just going to sluice past the hard puller in front. But
yeah,
it never did. But then there we go. That's racing. Right, 3-point round.
Another heap of shit from us.
Let's start off in style. Me, it's the second coming that I'm going to comment on.
Oh yeah, good this, isn't it?
Yeah, this is good. This is one I am. There's not many horses that really float my boat, and this is one of them. And it's Ile et Francais in the Kauto Star. I've watched this on France Gallop, and honestly, Christ, this has got some gear. It gallops like really strongly. It jumps like a complete natural. I cannot believe Hermes Allen. You see, because it's like a public horse, everyone's seen Hermes Allen. It jumped well last time. It was quite impressive. There's nothing not to knock Hermes Allen. But if this is better than that, I'll pack the game in. He's tailor-made to Kempton because he just bowls along. He jumps like a natural, so Kempton suits it. Hermes Allen, remember, jumped perfect last time, and I'm not so sure that he's going to do that again. I think Ile et Francais, I think he's a very, very good bet at 2-1.
Big horse Tom George got it to win.
It might be Amanda Zetterholm that's
trying. Well, it might have been, yeah. Yeah.
Because honestly, I beseech anyone to please watch the 2 runs in France. They were extremely impressive. And it's on the Billy Idol as well. It's hard held. These wins are hard held as well. I just think that this is one that got me excited. And I'm going to be excited to watch this race more than any other race on Boxing Day. And I expect this to blow people away. And I want it to, because I think we need another star in the game. And I think this is actually one. That's Ile et Francais. 3 points win, 2-1. Thank you. Quentin, I'm going to swing it back round to you.
Last race of the day, actually. Leave everyone waiting in anticipation. 17:35 Wolverhampton. I'm going Marco van Basten here. Two against the field. Top of the market looks a bit ropey, whereas top of the market, Amazing She Doggy hangs left, awkward head carriage. Western Stars down in trip, not sure it wants that. Suffragette wide draw. Appeals as a race you can kind of get stuck into 2 at prices. Jockey upgrade on Percy Willis will be one of them. He's been caught further back than ideal. Steadily run races, shaped like a knot off in the middle of November. When given a very, very quiet time, you kind of think if it was an apprentice, he would have been slapped with a ban for the ride. It was that bad. He's just in decent nick, and he's shaping better than the form figure suggests. I think he's 10-1 kicking around for that, and 1.5 points win on that. The other horse is Sea of Elegance. This caught the eye back in July, just keeping on at Nottingham on heavy ground by Cedar Stars. I'm not sure it wants heavy ground, to be honest. Finally gets a trip here. Think he's been screaming out for a trip. Reappeared at Kempton, 6th of September. Shaped like needing to run, but was keeping on at the death. Has a pedigree to be better than a 63 rated horse. She's been pulled out several occasions. Not sure why. Maybe it's Christmas punt. Maybe it's not. I think she looks overpriced at there was 20s kicking around. There's still 20s kicking around. In a race where you can make cases for not backing someone at the top of the market, I'm quite happy to go 1.5 points win on each of them.
Sea of Elegance, yeah, that's definitely on my shortlist in terms of they seem to have got the trip wrong with that. They're running at a mile for some reason.
Interesting ownership there, isn't it?
Yeah, like Highclere bought it for 23,000
Yeah.
sales, and the thing is, they don't have to run really if they've bought off of the sheds or whatever. They just fancy sort of breeding out of her. Then you won't have to run really. You won't have to bother. So 20-1 looks massive. That Quentin, I'm on the gin. What's the other one again?
Percy Wills, Jed
Percy
O'Keefe
Willis,
trained
yeah.
horse, Willis even.
10-1 generally available. Right, so 1.5 on each. Love Quentin's big prices. 10s and 20s. I think Sea of Elegance, I think that 20s is going to be probably single figures, I would say, come purse time. So if you can avail yourself of those prices, even 18s, 16s, I think it's worthy. Sea of Elegance certainly caught my eye. Right, Quentin, thank you for that. Andy Richmond.
I said there was a bit of SNS, synergy and symmetry between the two bets. So we're back to what I think is probably one of the best 0 to 100 handicap hurdles I've seen run for quite some while. So we're back to that Exeter race on the 10th. And there have been 5 next time out winners from that particular race. The first, Asian Spice, won again. Danton, who of course I really like, won again. 4th, Little Pie, that one again. The 7th went in, and the 8th, Only Fools and Loudspeaker. In fact, some of the others have run pretty well. Imperial Measure just missed out last time out. The one that is missing from that group is Major Fortune, who you couldn't have missed on that particular day. He didn't get a clear run turning for home. He got Harry Skelton turning for home, one of Harry's lesser hold-up rides. I thought the horse travelled really well throughout the race. The form is strong. They've taken it to Market Railsbury, upped it in trip. Really doesn't look to be an awful lot in the race. Sky Bet have got 3-1 up. Without, and I did check this, without the non-runner in the race, which has been pulled out, which was, the name escapes me at the moment, but there is one out. Horse is Nickel Force, who is actually quite a decent runner as well. But I do think that Major Fortune, if you can burgle the 3-1, and I'm probably not going to get that, then it is an excellent bet with Liam Harrison on board to frank the form of that 0 to 100 race at Exeter, which has been royally franked and hopefully will have already been franked by the form of Imperial Measure up at Sedgefield. So 3 points win Major Fortune, and I know I'm not getting 3-1.
No, that's in the 222 at Market Raisin. 11-4 you can have with the knees, Andy.
That will do nicely.
I'll give you that. That was actually put out as an edge bet by us last
time. It was,
time.
yeah. I wasn't going to, available monthly.
Absolutely, get the ad in. Yeah, this is your Christmas present to people. Get either subscribe to Bar Stewards on Patreon Extra. That's £7 a month, and you get many fabulous articles, including betting bulletins from Quentin. You've got John's notebook. You've got Andy's National notebook, and beating the bias when it returns for the flat. There's lots of fantastic stuff on there. For £7 a month, there's just too much. It's brilliant.
I'll buy a pint for that these days. You can't at a race course.
I'd pay £7 for some of this stuff on its own. Honestly, it's that good. But who am I to say? It's up to consumers to decide, and that's what we provide. So please support us on Patreon and subscribe, either the 7 or the more expensive option, which is of course the Edge service, which is currently doing about 17%, I believe, at 11 a.m. prices. So that's a good return on investment if you're playing and you like your tips on a daily basis. Right, good selection from Andy Major Fortune. Jonas, finish the round.
I think my own notes are worth £9.72 a month.
That's a £10.18.
I think you've been over generous myself, mate. Some of the grammar leaves a bit to desired. Are any of you lads doing dry January, by the way?
No.
Yes.
Yes?
Oh, yeah. Quentin, yes. Yeah. Honestly.
Yes, seriously.
You disappointing man.
You said the same thing last year.
Massive kudos, Quentin. For my money, even the finger blast without lubricant takes dedication, so...
Got to talk about going down him yesterday. I love the man, but Jesus Christ. No.
That's all right. It's a very brief one, this, because this will win, actually. and it'd be a nice price. 145 Leopardstown, Attaboy Charlie. I've had my eye on this all 3 runs. Handicap debut here. Just ignore me other 2 and back the shit out of this. 3.2.
I love reasons like this. Yeah, just get on. Attaboy Charlie. I'm just
20 to 1.
20s. Oh,
Yeah.
look at this team.
Fucking hell.
Is it the Corley team?
Team in great form. Initial run when second has worked out a treat. And sneaking about like sneaky bastards on Boxing Day. So, what more do you want?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you love a Christmas bent plot, don't you?
Yeah,
Right.
totally. You see, I'm usually behind them.
Fair comment. Love it from John with a lovely Irish plot, and we have got a lot of Irish listeners. So that's a good. You've gone to Down Royal for him, and you've gone to Leopardstown for your big one. Love it. Right, hope you enjoyed that round, folks. Do you agree with any of our selections, or you might want to oppose them? Whatever, but it's all good fun. We move on to the television preview round, which is covering the ITV Racing on Boxing Day, and we shall start off before we do Kempton at the 2 off meets, if you like. Wetherby first is the Rowland Meyrick, where I have tipped Venetia, so I'll sit this one out and leave it to the panel to discuss. Andy, how do you see the Rowland Meyrick?
Well, it's not the. I don't think it's the race it was, is it? But we've had a few races like that recently. Like
I agree.
Like the Tommy Whipple. If you go back far enough, we're doing all our yesterdays. You had 2 Gold Cup winners win that in the past.
Yeah,
I remember when Tommy Whittle was winning it.
Yeah, well, yeah, can't go back that far, John. But you can certainly remember Gold Cup winners in that. Forgive and Forget would be one. The Thinker would be the other for those who of a certain age, like myself. I think this is for having said that, I think you can construct a case or a cogent case for all the 6 of them, can't you? In some shape or form.
Yes.
And you can probably construct one against them as well in some shape or form. Your selection, Lee.
The Carl Philippe, though, I'm not bothered about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be convinced about his jumping. Fontaine Collonges, well, you could say the same after that very strange jump.
It was
when I had me nuts on last time out, which didn't really help. When Venetia was in, she had a fine day that day, and then all of a sudden that one crashed out. Still, never mind. Houston, Texas will be staying on with the excellent Sean Quinlan on board. I know there's the Appreciation Society for his talents on the show, but the trip might just be a little bit too short. I think he needs 3.5. Does he know he's got a very good record fresh? Might just have a bit too much weight. I see it probably between the front 2. I really loved Into Overdrive as a horse last year until he blew out. He blew out in the Ultima, didn't he? Which was a bit of a shame because I thought he was a really progressive horse last year. But Empire Steel for Big Sandy ran really well at Kelso last time out. He was unlucky in this 2 years ago when he crumpled on landing. I think it was at the 4th last. Jumped it really well and did a Shan Blue. And just crumpled on landing. So I'd probably make it between those 2. They both got, Into Overdrive's got a reasonable record fresh as well. I'd probably make it between those 2, but to be honest with you, I can't see a lot in it at the prices that I would want to back. So if I had to, I'd probably split a stake between Empire Steel and Into Overdrive, but that's about as far as I got with it.
Okie dokie. Jonas?
Well, I can't back him Steel south of Carlisle, so I'd just go into Overdrive.
You will be going into Overdrive back then after Leopardstown one. When that bolts in.
That'll be it then. Cork out, hookers in.
Brilliant. Love it. Quentin, anything to add to John?
I thought Empire Steel was the solid one. Goes well here, like Andy said. Should have won this 2 years ago.
Wasn't winning you though. South of Carlisle.
That's true. But I'm happy. I'm happy to give him a chance here.
Good stuff. Right, we move across to Aintree for the George Formby, the 105. Django bit for Nicky Henderson, who's in a bad mood, according to the race. first on Sunday.
Is this before or after the Christmas hurdle? This
Well, 4, isn't it? Yeah.
one? He's still going to be in a stinker, isn't he?
Yeah, stinking mood there.
You know.
He's
James,
definitely.
James Bourne will be on the phone. He say, "What do you want me to do, boss?" He'll say, "Don't fucking talk to me." Come on.
So I'll sit this one out. I've gone with it with the Frog. Any view here?
Were you concerned about the knee action? I know of the French horse. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. Like, I thought he's obviously only raced on soft heavy. Concerned he just showed a bit of knee, and obviously what you said earlier on about it's probably going to ride borderline good ground. That was the only.
No, that's Kempton. Aintree's.
Sorry,
yeah.
Don't worry about it up here, Quentin. It's been pissing it down.
I was a bit mystified when you said you weren't going to attempt the pronunciation of the French horse, who happens to be called July Flower.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's fucking taxing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this. I love this game. Quentin. Right, yeah. We'll start that one again.
I was reviewing the French horse July Flower. As you say, Timeful Ratings comes out top. You look at the Henderson horse that's this Django Bay, hard puller last time out. I know it won. Time was modest enough. Like, you've got rock solid grade one form there. Ground will suit. There's not really much not to like at the price. Even if the ratings are wrong, she gets sex allowance. You can't pay great to one, can you? Like,
and we said at the time, I think we did a show recently for the Royal Bond, and we said the Royal Bond was one of the worst Royal Bonds we've seen on paper at Fairy House that Farron Glory won. Yeah, it's won, and fair enough. It was that bad a race. I went for Antabar that had just won a novice hurdle on the back of a reputation. I don't think the race is anything to write home about. I just don't. Even though people say, well, it's Group 1, Grade 1 form, Farron Glory. I think, well, I just don't. I think it's all right, but I don't think it's anything. It's not proper Grade 1 form, if you know what I mean. And like you said, Quentin, Django Bay, top of the market, a novice hurdle winner at the very top of the market. It's a vulnerable race, this. Andy, you have similar thoughts or different opinion?
I don't like the top end of the market. I appreciate the very difficult your what can I put it this way? Your confidence behind the very difficult to pronounce French horse.
Yes, July Flower.
Fleur de Juliet.
I do. John's obviously got his French English dictionary out by now, but I'm going to have to, because he was in my 5 to follow, have a little bit on Florida Dreams.
Yes.
I just felt in a way slightly disappointed on his first hurdling outing. Was a little bit, didn't blow me away last time out, but it seems quite true for Nicky Richards, who is quite conservative with his horses. It does seem a big step up for him to take here, ridden by the excellent Danny McMenamin. I think he's probably about the second best jockey in the north behind Sean Quinlan. Seemed to excellent effect yesterday at Newcastle, where he rode a double. And this horse did win a Grade 2 bumper here last year. So they like the course. I thought 16 was sort of double figure price. I definitely think he's overpriced.
You took a few sovereigns. That part of me just watched Air and thought, this one's 2.5.
Yeah. I think you probably need a fence actually, but more than that. And the top, I wouldn't rule out the top one, Cannock Park. I might be chucking a few in a race where it's a bit like Quentin's last race at Wolverhampton, which will probably get me away from the family on Boxing Day. There are, it's one of those races where you've got question marks against the top end of the market, and you might just be worth throwing a few shekels at, horses like July Flower, Florida Dreams, and even Cannock Park.
Yeah, I like the big price angle in this. I don't think there's anything spectacular in the race. John?
I'm a bit frightened Andy was so positive about Florida Dreams jockey. I think he's a bit of a muppet.
What, Steve McMenamin?
McMenamin. I mean, always. No, I quite like Django Bay at Newbury. That's Newbury on the brain. At Ascot, I thought that was a good effort because he was pulling like buggery all the time. I think James Bowen might get on better with him than Nico as well. I think we had to bait that one.
Interesting. Right, so a difference of opinion, Jeffrey. Like winner takes it all.
Oh, Tabby.
Yeah, we have a difference of opinion, Jeffrey. Yeah, Django Bay, top of the market for John, and me, Quentin, and Andy preferring longer odds in the race. Right, we move back to Kempton for televised affairs. We start off with the 12:45 race, which is the handicap chase, which of course we've had Quentin speak very positively about A Perfecto. That's one of his best bets. So we'll leave Quentin out for this. Andy, your thoughts on this?
Should be run at a good pace, shouldn't it? There's a couple that like to go forward here, and it might. There's a lot of horses. I can see the case that Quentin's made for As Perfecto. There's a really interesting one that I thought they'd keep over hurdles. The Tizard horse, Off to a Flyer. They've given him a tough start in life in handicaps. I thought he ran well when he was fourth last time out in that race where one of the Skelton horses went off an amazing price. Would get a tonic. And I thought he didn't have the run of the race that day. I thought they'd give him another go over hurdles. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do over fences. Russian Ruler for the Gin King, not you, Lee, Nicky Henderson. He's certainly got form that is starting to work out rather well. The one I quite liked was Blow Your Wad. I don't know how they got that name through. Yeah. But he's run well. Oh, he ran well on his chasing debut behind a Grade 1 winner now in Le Patron in a novice handicap at Sandown on his chasing debut, having previously run well in a decent handicap hurdle when he was second of 14 to Pyramid Place. His form stacks up quite nicely. Again, it's a bit of a step up in class for him from last time out, although you could argue with the former Le Patron that it isn't. And I quite like, in a race where I certainly wouldn't be going mad in, partly because there's that many angles that you could take into it, I would be probably keenest on him. Blow Your Wad. So if you could get, I don't know, the price is a little bit tighter than I'd like, but if you get sixes or better, then I wouldn't be against him. But there's a lot of horses I think make up into decent handicappers here, and probably even a little bit better. Horses like Russian Ruler, As Perfecto, General Medrano, and Hidalgo Bue last time out. Although you could argue he was impressive visually last time out, but beating that railway thing is hardly the greatest piece of form, because that's a horse that just doesn't want to win. But decent race. I'll keep an eye on Off to a Flyer. If I had to pick, then Blow Your Wad.
They got that past the panel, Andy, that Blow Your Wad.
Well, they were probably all asleep.
No, they changed the day to a W.
Blow Your Dad. I'm sure it'll be going off in some households this Christmas.
That's the apple clean.
Christmas, isn't it?
It's what happens, isn't it? It's life, things happen. Blow Your Dad, that's a good one. Yeah.
There's no coming back from that.
That was the original name, and then they said, no, you can't have that. So they just went, just put W then instead of D. We'll just imagine it were a D. Blow Your Dad for Andy. Yeah, I'm Off to a Flyer. Well, with that. That's one for 3 miles and chases, but I'm interested to see how he goes on. What terrible placing from Tizard, an idiot. A 3-mile chase for this, and everyone's like sticking it on. But that's what they want to do. They want to tease you and tantalise you.
Surely the idiot piece of placing for the year has to go to Warren Greatrex for his place in a Bill Baxter this year. The thing does not stay 3 miles plus in a pissing horse box. No. And he's run it in a race, the Colin Parker, where it couldn't win, which might have been the idea. Then he runs it in the Coral Cold Trophy, when he could have run it at Aintree over the fences where it's won before. And we all know experience counts there. And then he runs it in the pissing Tommy Whittle yesterday.
Unbelievable.
Ran really well yesterday. But absolutely useless piece of place in that. What is the man thinking?
There you go. And you can read this in Andy's National Notebook for another plug for our
That will be in there.
Yeah, for a £7 effort. John, to finish on this.
I'm with Quentin with this Perfecto. He was in my prize to follow the year before last when
He was.
when he missed a year. And I thought he was brilliant jumping wise on his debut around Shelters. And I think there's still hope for this. This horse isn't a complete write-off yet. He could still do something. Not spectacular. He's not going to win a Gold Cup, but he might win a nice race. And this might be a stepping stone on the way to a nice race. I think he's all right.
Lovely. Okay, thank you for that, John. So, John, backing Quentin's selection, backing at what Quentin thinks about A Perfecto in the opener. Right, the 120, obviously, if you don't back the French horse, you're all idiots, of course. So I will sit this one out, and I'll come to John first this time. John, any view on the Kauto star?
Yes, I'm backing the French horse because I'm not a fucking idiot.
That's what I like to hear. Yes, some blind followership there.
Blind faith. I'm betting entirely on your say so.
Yeah.
And you can have a little chuckle to yourself if it does get baked and console yourself.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'll be conscious as well.
I mean, there's a lot of judges out there in France as well that are saying this is the best thing out of France in a long time as well. So, again, it's one of these races where if this bolts,
Tunnel's the best thing out of France. Isn't it?
Definitely. Right, Andy.
Well, a wise man once told me it was better to keep quiet and let people think you're an idiot rather than confirm the point. So, on that note, I'll be rowing in with a French horse.
Lovely, that's what we like to hear. Quentin.
Bonjour. Do you have any ground doubts, Lee? That was the only, I think he's the best horse in the race, but like you said earlier, with the ground tightening up at Kempton, that was the only nagging doubt in the back of my head, given how he moved.
It's the only thing that you could possibly say, right, that's why he's just not performed. But what I would say is he don't move like he just moves like a movie thing. It's poetry in motion watching it. It just is.
Like a panther in a canoe.
Yeah, fences. There's horses that obviously can jump hurdles and look good, but when they jump a fence, yeah, you could have a point about the ground. That's the one sort of thing if he gets beat. But what I would say is that when you see a good horse, you just know you've seen a really, really, really good horse. And it's that kind of feeling. This is a really top-class animal. And I think he's better than Hermes Allen. So, yeah, the ground, that's a fair point. That is possibly one issue. But I always say if you're a top-class animal, it don't matter what you run on.
They all look the same to me, they're just different colours.
Grey, brown, bay, chestnut.
Ginger.
Yeah, gingers, they're terrible. Yeah. I've got to pay special thanks to Quentin, really, for appearing on this show, because if it weren't for Quentin, we would have had the Ginger Hitler, which is an absolute disaster for all listeners concerned to listen to him for 15, 20 minutes on a show.
He rang me up this man, actually. He said, "Do you need me?" I said, "No, fuck off."
What was Nev doing?
Oh, well, Nev will be back on soon. I'm just trying to fit everyone in. Obviously, Fry's been back on. Got a new contributor in Chris Gartner for the jump season. So I'm just trying to fit everyone in, really. It's quite good at the moment. Adam Norman's had his first run out in a long time on Friday. She's so diversity and all that. We have everyone on. Foreigners, dwarves, everyone. Right. Yeah, 155, Kempton, a Constitutional, 8's on. Can we just leave this race? It's boring, isn't it? Just leave it.
Can't we do a Nick Davis and just go, no?
No, that's the gin and pate race. So we'll finish it off with a King George and look at the King George in style. I'll start us off by saying I think this could be whatever sort of I know it's obvious that I sound like a TV pundit. Whatever gets in the right rhythm early, he's obviously got the edge. Shishkin, we can't back Shishkin. No one can back Shishkin. What is it? Is Brave Man's Game gone? Allaho, we've always said it, the best 3 mile race for him would be the King George, given that he's probably not an out-and-out stayer on, say at Cheltenham and stuff like that. So is the market right? Andy, I'll come to you first.
I don't know, I'd find it hard to have a bet in here. The one thing I couldn't believe was that Paul Townend had never ridden at Kempton before.
Really?
Yeah, that was a turn, wasn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, it looks between, I couldn't back Shishkin with Counterfeit. The real whacker, don't know, not sure. I love the horse. I like the jockey even better because I think he's really good, Gavin Sheehan. And Frodon, well, we we possibly don't want that winning because ITV might explode if it does.
Yeah, Ed Chamberlain a little bit older.
If you gave me a bet at the risk of being very, very boring, I'd have to have Allaho over Brave Man's Game. But it's a race I'd rather watch than play in. There's other handicaps and other races like that. I was rather playing over Boxing Day than this, but I should watch it. But I can't see anything that you would really think, ooh, that's an outstanding price. But if you gave me a tenner, and you're not going to because you're a tight Yorkshire git, I'd put it on Allaho.
That's where I'm at, to be honest. I think the tightening of the ground to good. I think it's just all getting in the favour of Allaho, and I think 13, like the gun to the head, 13-8 makes most appeal to me. Quentin,
Market looks right, to be honest. It doesn't look like
it does.
If your skin jumps off, what price does he go in running? How much of him not jumping off is baked into this price? Probably not a lot, given all justice refunds nowadays. To be fair, but the market just looks spot on here.
I think they've priced him up as though he's already jumped off, Quentin.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I mean, in race, I'll guarantee in the race he'll probably come off it and be lazy. And
7-2 with Sportsbook. I mean, who like Christ back in that?
Well, it's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know he's like you. You as well have said like he's gone, but you look at this King. It's not a great King George, is it? Like it's
no.
Yeah, shit, isn't it?
This is why we sided with Allo, I think.
Brave Man's Game's dead, isn't he?
He's not. I don't think he's the horse he was in the goal in like last spring. He was second to.
Well, Cook's knocked the living piss out of him, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just not. He's not turned up in. I mean, at Wetherby, he was. I know Nichols have needed a run, but at Wetherby, he always looked like he was going to get beat by a Gentleman's Game from the second last. It never looked like it was like, oh, well, you've just got tired. He looked from 2 out like Gentleman's Game was just going to sluice past him. And then, let's be fair, and I'm not being rude to Royal Pagaille, but Royal Pagaille thumped him at Aydock and was 14 lengths behind him in the King George last year. So I'm not having it that Nichols is training just for the King George. Let's say he needed it at Wetherby and that was the excuse. Well, the 6-length thump into Royal Pagaille, who pissed on him. Again, the more I think about it, the more I think 13-8 Allaho is quite reasonable because this is a horse that'll just it'll just ping away from the front, get in a rhythm. Look at its wins. I mean, it's won by 2, won by 12, won by 14, won by 14, won by 9. I don't think 13-8 is that bad. Like I said, the more you sort of look at it and trying to work out a bet in the race, even though we don't like tipping too short a price, I think 13-8 is not bad. So, yeah.
Well, let's double him with your frog.
That's it. That's the bet. The frog. That's the fun bet for Boxing Day, where you spaff your pants at 2-1 and 13-8 for a double. It pays
a double.
Yeah,
a double.
Pays 13-2, 7-1 for double. Lovely.
Yeah, money for now.
Yes, money for Jam. Right. I think that sums it up, really. Just a schedule announcement. So we're back on Wednesday for a sermon, which is discussing the botties of 2023, the candidates of Bottie of the Year, Bar Steward of the Year, of course, which will be a fun show to do. That's me, John and Chris. Then we're back on Sunday for the sermon to announce the winner of the botties. And we've got a big story in line for you on Sunday as well that I'll keep under wraps for now. So 2 good shows coming up, as well as the normal Friday show next week. Tipping show, don't miss that for Saturday's racing. So we hope you have a good Christmas. Me, John, Andy and Quentin, we wish you all the best. And hopefully we have a cracking Boxing Day and you do too. So that's all from us. Bye for now.